Well, good morning guys, I hope you are all well, and as you could just hear me singing before, it's a new bike day, and this bike is something I've sort of wanted to build for a very long time, but I always wanted to build it on the saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And that essentially is how I've built this bike. And this bike has been built to do extremely long distance, and it's always something I've always loved doing. And I've always wanted to build, if you can tell what it is, it's a titanium bike. I've always wanted one, but I've always wanted to build one out of second-hand parts, kind of not necessarily as cheap as possible, but as good parts as I get for as cheap as possible. So this is the bike, taken out on a bit of a test ride today, and I thought I'd do a little sort of a breakdown of all the components and how much I got them for and how much this bike cost me in total. So let's jump over and let's check it out. So here it is. It is the Sonder Camino Titanium. Now, to go over what I wanted from this bike really was quite simple. I wanted titanium, I wanted it to be light enough that it was comfortable to ride long distance and at a reasonable pace, nothing too crazy fast. I wanted it to be smooth and comfortable. So, although this is a gravel bike, I've set this up mainly for me to use on roads, and it can still go on. It can still go on off-roading when I need it. So let's start off with the frame, obviously. Frame, forks, headset, and even a seat clamp. I picked up for a bargain price of £515. Now that is crazy cheap for really any frame, any decent frame, but especially to get a titanium frame at that price, I was very happy, obviously.
So for the rear wheel, I decided to go for some carbon, and I got a prime 50mm deep carbon clincher, set up tubeless, and I got this for £120.
Now, to get a rear wheel, carbon, and tubeless, and disc, that is like insanely good price. I was so happy with that. Now,
moving on to the front wheel, I decided I wanted a dynamo wheeled hub, mainly for keeping my phone and Garmin charged. So I got a Halo White Line Disc SP PD7 wheel. This was brought new from Halo and cost £179. Right, moving on to the group set. I have managed to get a full SRAM Force Hydro 1 by group set, running a 45 chainring up front with an 1142 cassette, and I have managed to pick this up for a bargain price of just £455. For the bar, I went with the Ritchie Venturemax 44cm bar. This is a flared bar style, mainly just to give myself more room while carrying stuff. I was a little worried it would mean tilting the shifters a lot, but that wasn't the case, and I could get them angled how I wanted them. The stem is a carbon ITM 130mm stem, because while I'm ridiculously tall, the bars were £29.99 and the stem was £17.
so yeah, this bike in total cost me just under £1,500, and yeah, it's such a bargain, and super looking forward to riding it. So I'll take you for a little spin around and just give you my sort of initial thoughts of riding it and how it feels, and if there's anything I might want to change, which I'm sure there is. Yeah, let's do that. So guys, I just went to adjust my saddle height and I definitely just broke my seat clamp bolt. So I'll still give my reviews, but it'll be in standing form only. Hi there. It'll be in standing form only, and I've got a really swingy seat. So one thing that titanium, it gets thrown around quite a lot, like titanium being the smoothest, most comfortable material, and I can't really comment for comfort because I haven't really ridden this bike too long, and it's definitely not going to be the most comfortable riding home right now. However, is it smooth? Yes. Is it smoother than carbon? Yes. Very much smoother than my Canyon. Is it smoother than steel? I would say it's about the same. However, it is definitely lighter. Let's talk about 3 things I like and 3 things I don't like. The first thing I do not like is how high the hoods are on SRAM's hoods. Like they're just really up, and they're quite blocky and pointy, and I don't know, I don't really like that. I'm sure I'll get used to it and it'll probably become fine. I'm just quite used to like Shimano i2 to be honest at the moment, and just how I can sort of go over the top there and it's not feeling so far away from the bars. However, it brings me on to the one thing I do like about the bike is hydraulic brakes. I find hydraulic brakes are pretty easy to bleed and to maintain, and they're just much more powerful, which gives you a lot more confidence on descending, especially when this bike will be packed up and a bit heavier. That will be a very welcome feature. So the second thing I don't really like about the bike is that although it's extra large and claimed to be a 60cm frame, it really doesn't feel like a 60cm frame. It feels a lot smaller. It just feels a lot lower to the ground. For me, I don't know if it actually is, but it just feels a lot lower. It feels probably more like a 58cm frame. So if you are longer in the legs and you don't really want to have a whole lot of seat post sticking out, you might want to check something else out. I'm not sure. However, for the second thing I do like about this bike is actually the frame. I really like how it feels. It feels as good as my steel frame, but it just weighs a lot less. I don't know how much it weighs, I don't have scales. However, it is significantly less weight, and essentially it should be as strong. Now, for the third thing I like and the third thing I dislike, it's kind of the same thing. It's these tyres. I love the way they roll. They roll so smooth, they're so comfortable, and they are tubeless. And they weren't too hard to set up once, but the issue was getting them on the rim. And now, that doesn't sound like, that's not a bad issue like once in a while if you have to do, but this bike is designed for more of like bike packing trips and stuff, and the last thing I want to be doing is struggling to change a puncture to get that tyre on and off the rim. I literally had to actually strap the tyre down and use so much force it nearly destroyed my hands. So I dislike how hard these tyres are to get on the rim, but I do really like them, and they roll as good as the GP4000s, if not better. And they've got the added benefit of they are tubeless and you probably won't get much of a puncture. Or you're less likely, well, they say you're less likely. And a little bonus thing that I do really like about this bike that was actually the thing I was most, oh, do I want to go, do I want these bars, do I not? It is these bars. I thought I was going to end up having to have a weird hand position, but actually I get to keep it quite nice, and just it's just like a nice, and it gives me a lot of space to pack my stuff here. So that is my steal of a titanium bike build and my initial thoughts. If you've enjoyed this video, please do hit that thumbs up, please do hit that subscribe button, and keep smiling!